Millions of Americans have never experienced this, and well, it might just happen in 2024. We've only been in the new year for what, a few days or so? But already, we're seeing rising tensions between countries and groups that didn't necessarily end the last year on the best terms. With conflicts and threats between Russia, the Ukraine, Israel and Hamas, China and Taiwan, along with direct threats to the United States from the same countries, which also include North Korea. It's a safe bet to say that 2024 is probably going to be real interesting. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the possibility that the United States is directly involved in a war, given that the Biden administration has given its word to send our troops in if this happens.
China will continue to support Hong Kong and Macau in giving full play to their own advantages and maintaining long-term prosperity and stability, while better integrating into the overall picture of national development. The reunification of China is a historical inevitability, and compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait should join hands and share the great glory of national rejuvenation. Our goal is grand and simple.
Now, when he said reunification, he was of course pertaining to Taiwan, a country that our president has vowed to protect.
You didn't want to get involved in the Ukraine conflict militarily for obvious reasons. Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
You are?
That's the commitment we made.
So this now raises the question, what's going to happen in 2024? Now, granted, China never said when this reunification was actually going to happen, but has repeatedly warned the United States against getting involved. So this now becomes a situation of when the war will happen rather than if one will happen, right? So I want to go ahead and ask you guys, at our current state, do you believe that the United States is prepared to go to war with the likes of China? Comment 1 if you think that the US is more than prepared to face China or any other country for that matter under the circumstances that we're currently in. And comment 2 if you think that the added pressure of funding multiple wars for so many years is starting to catch up with us. Maybe we're not ready for a major conflict like this one. And while you guys are at it, don't forget to hit the like button for the video. When you do that, this just kind of pushes out the video to YouTube, letting them know that more people need to see this content. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. It literally only takes about 10 seconds. Now, the wording from Xi regarding Taiwan is that it's inevitable. There is no scenario where China does not take over Taiwan in the future, which means that a conflict or a war with the United States would also theoretically be inevitable, no? Not to mention that we're also seeing these highlighted tensions from the likes of Iran and Russia, even North Korea. In fact, North Korea is also saying that another world war is inevitable and pins the blame on none other than the United States. Now, it's also probably the reason why the US, along with all of these different countries, seem to be just kind of gearing up for something big, something that, like I said, millions of Americans have never expected, and that is another world war.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says US policy towards the Korean Peninsula is making war inevitable. Kim was speaking at an end-of-year Workers' Party meeting in Pyongyang. He said deployment of US military assets in the region had turned South Korea into an American military base. Kim also announced he'll no longer pursue reconciliation and reunification with South Korea, blaming defense ties between Seoul and Washington. Here is Eunice Kim with more from Seoul.
North Korean state media posting a lengthy statement essentially capturing a 5-day key political party meeting that wrapped in Pyongyang, which covered everything from the economy to military goals in the new year and the food situation. But what's catching the eyes of those in South Korea is North Korea ruling out a peaceful reunification, saying that a military usurpation is the only viable option. Now, Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, is quoted as characterizing the nature of relations between South and North Korea as no longer that of kin or of blood, but of two hostile countries, two belligerents at war, also saying Seoul is a colonized state under Washington, reliant for its security and national defense. KCNA also signaling 3 new satellite launches in 2024, drone production, and other preparation for what it views as inevitable war on the peninsula.
How many days into 2024 are we again? Now, I know it seems quite humorous to some extent that war talks are this intensified this early into a new year, but I mean, like, it's been going on for some years now. Now, some experts say that the Biden administration might not be ready to handle all of this at once. And granted, funding and ultimately arming different allies as well as going into a war is something that's, I don't know, how do I call it? Highly complicated, but it seems that the US is actually making moves to show that we're not going to back down. Check this out. So this happened late in 2023 with reports showing that the Biden administration is working to revive a Pacific airfield that was a key location in World War II. It ultimately enabled the US to drop a nuclear bomb on Japan.
The United States has now ramped up military deployment in the region and plans to revive a Pacific airfield that was used to launch atom bombs towards Japan. Beijing has responded by saying that its military is paying close attention to moves by the United States. The Chinese Defense Ministry spokesperson says it will firmly safeguard the country's maritime rights, security and sovereignty in the region. The official said that the US's goal is for its own selfish gains and to maintain its hegemony. This as the US Pacific Air Force has confirmed it is rebuilding the airfield used to launch the nuclear attacks on Japan during World War II. The airfield is located in the island of Tinian. Tinian is part of the Northern Mariana Islands in the Western Pacific Ocean and is a U.S. territory. The U.S. has made significant progress to reclaim the airfield from the forest that has grown since its abandonment by U.S. units in 1946. The project to convert it into an extensive facility will receive tens of millions of dollars under the recently passed National Defense Authorization Act in the U.S.
So things are really escalating very quickly as we start this new year, and, well, it's becoming harder and harder to disagree that this could all end very, very badly for most of us. Not just Americans here at home, but for our troops overseas, and even citizens in different Asia-Pacific nations. If we looked at the map of Asia, Japan is closely located in terms of proximity to both North Korea and China, and this is exactly why both of these countries are raising the alarm over what the United States is actually doing here. Now, obviously, this island, called Tinian Islands, by the way, is going to be a key piece for the US if and when a conflict happens in the region. And here's how some analysts are seeing the situation. There is a chance for peace. Now, you're probably thinking, Ron, you've just shown us how high tensions are between the US, China, and North Korea. What peace are you talking about here? Well, here's something happening in Taiwan that many people missed, and that is their presidential elections. Now, it's no secret that a leadership change can also bring change to different policies and points of view. With Taiwan, some presidential candidates are expressing their desire to have peaceful relations with Beijing. Taiwan's current vice president, who's actually running for president, has said that he is definitely open to talking with the government of Beijing, even though China has not communicated with him or their president in recent times. There's another candidate that China favors more, and it's one that would probably agree with them regarding this unification that they talk about. So what happens when Taiwan suddenly turns face and says, all right, let's talk to China about peace and not let this escalate into a war? Does that mean that the United States doesn't have to interfere? I mean, shouldn't peace be the goal for every leader in the world anyway? But hey, I just want to hear from you guys. So please share your thoughts down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys for listening to the information that I've shared with you today. Keep safe, and I'll see you on the next video.